my name is Kellen and I am a belly dancer. I have been dancing for about 15 years, and today I would like to guide you through a somatic exercise and introduce you to a way of processing your emotions through expression with the body. And the class today will do this by first starting with a grounding and centering exercise where we do a body scan to check in with ourselves and where we're currently at. And then we're going to do a little warm up, and afterwards we're going to start learning some moves and drilling them, and at the end we'll put it all together into a small choreography. And one of the concepts that I'd like to share with you guys is whenever you have a successful belly dance practice and belly dance performance and method for expressing the feelings, tapping into the self, feeling what you are currently experiencing, and then finding ways to express those feelings with movement rather than with your words or toxic reactions or behaviors, is by keeping in mind that there's this balance between form and flow. And form is the structure of the movements, and flow is the connection and the flow between them, and also the little unique flair that you might add to each of the moves themselves to make them your own. So with that, let's get started with a grounding and centering exercise. I recommend finding a comfortable seat on the floor. And if it's available to you, please close your eyes. Otherwise, follow along with a softened gaze. Take a deep breath in, out through the mouth. Another one, and one more. Fill the belly, out through the mouth. Take a moment to recognize the weight of your own body being supported by the earth. You are held. We'll start at the crown of the head and just bring awareness to each of the body parts as I mention them. You're going to make note of how they feel without telling a story or assigning good or bad. Just be aware of how they feel, how the crown of your head feels. In your face, is there any tightness in the jaw? Is the tongue on the roof of your mouth? Down into your neck and your shoulders. Is there soreness, tightness? Are they relaxed? Spill your awareness down your arms, elbows, wrists, hands, fingertips. Bring your awareness back to your heart center and sit with your heartbeat for a few moments. Breathing is incredibly important for a movement practice. It's important that you never hold your breath. Breathing consistently throughout the practice. As you breathe, Notice how the air feels going into your lungs, the expansion of your rib cage, and down into your spine and your belly, your hips, your sits bones. Feel your thighs and your knees, legs, ankles, feet, the tips of your toes. Now bring this awareness back up through your legs, through your hips, up through your belly and spine, and rest it in the heart center. Lay your hands over your heart. Breathe into your heart center and listen. You may not hear anything, but you may notice thoughts or sensations. You don't need to dwell or worry about them, just notice, let it go, breathe it out. When you're ready, please open your eyes and we'll get started with our warm-up. I hope you're feeling relaxed and aware of the state that your body may be in currently. It's important to be conscious of your body and what its range of motion is, if you have any past injuries, any limitations that you may have for full range of movement. Listen to your body as throughout the whole practice. Make adaptations. I can offer suggestions for adaptations if you need them, lighter versions, more intense versions for those who are more advanced. Or you can skip an exercise altogether and stand, take a seat, go back to a previous exercise, whatever makes you comfortable. Okay, let's get some music. Okay, let's start with our arms up. Just tree pose, stand, tighten the knees, and the thighs, and the glutes. Chest up, shoulders relaxed. Arms by the ears. And relax. We're going to imagine we have a string between our fingers, and as we pull up with one arm and pull down with the other, we're going to bend the same leg as the arm that's going up. And you're going to feel a whole stretch in your side body here. Pull the string back together, and then it's like a rubber band. Stretch. Remember to bend the knee is the same side as the hand goes up. And back and forth. Okay, let's get some twisting action. Lift the knee of the heel. Lift the heel of the foot. Some people in Qigong will tap the body as they do it, waking up the organs. Okay, let's do a little forward fold. Feet hip width apart, arms up, and fold from the waist with the knees bent. Keep a flat back. All the way down. until you can hang. Here you can do a halfway lift, bringing your hands to your shins or your knees, wherever your back is flat and is comfortable for you. And when you hang again, feel free to rock side to side with your upper body, or shake your head yes or no, and just stretch and relax. Bend the knees, roll the spine all the way up slowly. Shoulders back, shoulder rolls. A little bit of a knee bounce as you go down. Waking up the calves, waking up the shoulders. Other way. Okay, take your right foot, one half step forward, bend that knee. It'll probably be the left foot for those watching at home. And feel the stretch in the back of the opposite thigh and the calf especially. Keep that back heel on the ground. You're gonna look something like this. Lift your arms so they're parallel to your ears. Breathing, breathing. You can grasp your hands like this and then tilt gently forward and gently back. Okay, while in that same position, you're going to do another forward fold, looking like this. If it's available to you, you can straighten that front leg. Put your right hand on your ankle, your knee, wherever it can go, and then twist open with your opposite arm to the opposite wall. To release, bend your knees, roll up, protecting the back. Back to center. We're gonna now do half step forward with the opposite leg, your right leg, I believe, if you're watching from home. Bend the knee, feel the stretch in the calf muscle with your heel down. Arms up, palms pose, one palm in front of the other with the thumbs out. Forward, back, forward, back, and opposite hand down. You can even go down to the floor if you're that flexible. Open up to the side. Straighten that front leg if you can. Alright, very good. Feeling limber. Let's get a few more things stretched out. We're gonna focus on our hips, our shoulders and chest, knees and ankles. So start warming up that ankle with a little roll. 10 to 15 of these is usually good. Hold on to a chair or the wall if it helps. Switch directions. Okay, other ankle. Other direction. 12. I like 12. Pull the knee up if you can. Do a few knee circles. Other way. Pull this knee up a little. Circle. Other way. Let's do a little bit of a heart warm-up. Bouncing. Lift up. 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 Feet wider than hip width, distant, arms out like a starfish. Stretch, reach to the left, right, left, right, left, right. Keeping the low body still. This is a little warm-up practice for isolations. Breathing. Forward folds. Bend the knees to come up. Squat. Bounce. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Forward fold. Bend the knees, come on up. Okay. Shake it out. Oh, I always do a neck stretch. Putting the hand on one side of the head. Gently tilt the head. And then look down at your armpit. Release the hand before you straighten your head. Other side. Look down. Release the hand. Very good. All right, let's do a little warm up with, let's do a little dance movement practice, okay? The way this works, the way this works is we're going to cross over. We'll start with feet about hip width apart. Cross over with your left leg. Open. Cross over. Open. So just practice that. Cross. Open. Other way. Cross. Open. Now cross back. Open. Cross. Cross back. Maybe there's more room here. Cross over. Open. Cross back. Open. Cross over. Open. Cross back. Open. Cross front. Open. Cross back. Got that? We're going to add a hip to it. Hip move. Cross front. Open, cross back, have your heel up, and you're gonna be at like a 45-degree angle from the stage, and you do a hip bump, right? Just a little hip up. You're kind of squeezing your side muscles here, and you're also lifting the hip, but you're keeping everything else still, even your upper body. So just one squeeze, okay? And then you're opening, crossing the front, opening, crossing to the back, hip up, step, open, cross back, up, step, open, cross back, up. Okay, step, open, cross back, up, step, open, cross back, up. Ready? We're gonna do this fast. Ready? Dos, tres. Open, up, bump, cross, open, cross back, up, cross, open, cross, up, cross, open, cross, up. You can add a little hand motion in there if you like. Switching sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. 4. 1, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Pose. Very good. Awesome. Okay. Now I would like to show you a few basic foundational belly dance moves. And they are ones that inspire me whenever I dance. I like to tap in, get grounded like we did earlier at the beginning. And I also like to tell stories. Sometimes it's the story of how I'm feeling at the moment or a story about how I want to feel. But I always come back to the basics. Those are the 4 elements. So I've chosen 4 moves that I believe represent each of the 4 elements. And I'm going to show them to you today. So we'll start with the water element. I find her to be cool and soothing, very emotional, motherly, and one of the moves that reminds me of water most is this big, wide hip circle, as well as the small hip circles. The chakra that houses water, or is represented by water, is right around the womb area. And this big circle motion reminds me a lot of cauldrons and the womb. So the breakdown for this move is to start with feet hip width apart. And you can put your hands on the table and just kind of push your hips to one side. Push your hips to the other side and just kind of feel how your body feels as you shift your weight back and forth. Now, after you push to one side, push to the back while keeping the upper body relatively still. You're just kind of pushing out, and it looks a little bit like this, which a little funky, a little awkward, but I promise it looks good when you put it all together. And then one side back, other side front. And when you're coming to the front, it's not like a hip thrust necessarily. It's more of just like a gentle kind of correction where you're bringing the body back to the front again. It's good to have your hips tucked forward, by the way. This is a way to protect your lower back, and also your knees are going to be slightly bent. This is a basic belly dance position as well, so whenever you are doing your moves, you want to make sure that you're protecting your low back and your knees. But for this move, we're going push left, push back, push right, forward, left, back, well, left, forward, right, back, left. Now smooth it out. Get that big stir in a cauldron feeling. Very good. Now, go the opposite, push the opposite direction with the hips. Back, right, forward, back, right, back, forward. Now smooth it out. Very good. Let's do that with the music, shall we? Two, three, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Smooth it out. Stop. Opposite. Back. Side. Front. Side. Back. Side. Front. Side. Smooth it out. Okay. Now put your feet together. We're going to do similar movement, but in a smaller, tighter circle, and this is called an Omi. Side, back, push, front, side, back, push, front. This is how it looks from the side. Side, back, left, forward, side, back, left, forward, side, back, left, forward, side, back, left, forward. You'll notice that the knees are now involved. So when you go to your left side, you're going to be bending your right knee to get that hip to push out. And when you go to your right side, you bend the left knee to get that hip to push out. Right? Hip, back. The back is kind of like a sitting down. But, and then when you go forward, it's kind of like just tucking the tailbone slightly. Right, back, left, forward. Right, back, left, forward. Right, slow, back, left, forward. Side, back, side, forward. Smooth it out. Opposite side, back, side, forward, side, back, side, forward. Like this. Slow. Smooth the Omi. Very good. Okay, so water adds this very flowy element, and I think is very grounded and generally something closer to the body parts that are closer to the earth. But speaking of earth, now we'll go into some hip movements. So the earth movements, the earth element, I find very grounding, stabilizing, and strong and structured. So a lot of skeletal movements I would consider as part of this element, or express this. A lot of skeletal movements can express the earthy kind of elements. Usually I like to do some stomping to kind of get a feel for it. And as I stomp, I feel my hips sway side to side. So that's just kind of like a little loosen up kind of thing. Hip bump is a basic foundational, again, I believe that the earth is a very foundational, so foundational movements such as the hip bump are sprinkled all throughout, and based on the tempo that you utilize them or the angle of the movement, they expand into a whole variety of different styles. So let's just start with the hip, basic hip bump, feet hip width apart, your tailbone is slightly tucked, your knees are bent, shoulders back. Okay, arms on the table. You're going to isolate just your lower half of the body is moving and the upper half is staying as still as possible. And we're going to do like what we were doing with the obi movement where you just hip to one side, hip to the other side, hip, shift your weight like your arms are full with bags of groceries and you're trying to close the car door. Hip. Or you're doing a little hip bump with your girlfriends or something when you're in middle school. Try and listen to the music. It's going much faster, even though we're going slow, right? So this is a 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And a 2 count would be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do even faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4. Keep your chest lifted. Chest lifted and still, as if there's a countertop. Alrighty. Very good. Now, we're going to do a variation of hip bump. It's called a hip lift. And it is similar to what we were doing with our warm-up, where you're going to be at a 45-degree angle and have one foot in releve, heel up, the other one flat on the floor, chest lifted, left or your foundational straight leg knee is still slightly bent for balance, and then hands on the table, and you're gonna squeeze your side muscles and then release as you're tilting your hip up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Now you can get a different effect with basically the same move if you decide to squeeze slowly and drop suddenly. And those are hip drops. So squeeze, drop. Squeeze slow, drop. Next, other side. Squeeze, down. Squeeze up, down, up, down, up, down. Slowly drop. Slowly squeeze, drop. Slowly squeeze, drop. Very good. Now I'd like to show you a move that is more airy. Air moves to me are ones where you're traveling, because I find that the air is associated with blowing in sails, or when messages are carried on the wind, or it reminds me of the Greek god Hermes, who's the messenger god, and he's got the wings on his ankles. And one of my favorite traveling moves is called the grapevine step, where you're going to cross over and then point with your leg, cross to the front, point with the back leg, cross to the front, point with the back leg, cross, point, cross, point. Now instead of crossing the front, if you want to go backwards, you just cross to the back, point, cross back, point, cross back, point, cross back, point. If you want to throw your arms into this instead of just being here, then you can do a little one arm in front and one in the back, and then spread the arms out. So, it looks like this when you put them together. Crossing your legs, you're crossing your arms, stretching out like a star on a point. Crossing, point, crossing, point, crossing, point, cross back, point, back, point, back, point. Very good. I also associate arm movements with the air element as air signs generally, like Gemini, are associated with the arms. That's the part of the body that Gemini rules, the arms and the chest. So we could also argue that chest movements are an air move as well, but I think arms are very essential for, you can just do a few simple movements like the Hamsa we did earlier, or even a lotus. I mean, look, it's just like a lotus on your head. Lotus. You can even keep the wrists together like so. And we already saw arms on the table. Arms on the table, you can have the arms out like this or at like a 3/4 up move here. So just, you know, throwing the arms in wherever. Or one of my favorites is seaweed arms, where you have them both up and sway back and forth like this. Okay. And with the seaweed arms, I like to mix in a taksim, which is another very earthy, but kind of blended with water element, where we're going to do a hip lift, push out, drop. Hip lift, push out, drop. Lift up, push out, drop. Now, if you're grounded and your knees are bent enough, you can sometimes get the noticeable lift in the hip without raising the heel on the floor. But if you're a beginner, then I totally think it's okay to lift that heel to get the movement that you're looking for. All right, that's one side. Let's try the other one. Lift, push, down, in. Lift, push, down, in. Faster, smooth it out. It's like you're drawing a circle with one hip. Now draw your circle with one hip, and when you write again, draw it with the next. One side, other side, and this is our figure 8. If you want to add the arms, you can step back a little bit. Get this very sensual, like you're floating in the ocean kind of feeling. Grounded, rooted seaweed. All right, let us put those together into a little combo. Let's start with our big hip circles going into an Omi. Other side, out, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. From here, we can do drop, 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 drop. Okay, let's try that together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hip drop, hip drop, hip drop, hip drop. All right, now if you got that, let's add a traveling move. You can even point, cross, point. Okay, so we're doing hip circles, circle, hip circle the other direction, Omi. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. cross, point, cross, point, cross back, point, cross back, point. Let's do the final move. So we have a water, and we have an earth, and then we have our air move. The last move that we have yet to do is fire. When I think of fire, there are certain moves like sensual moves, undulations, or snake arms, any kind of serpentine movement. I generally associate snakes and fire and passion. But fire is also anytime you add intensity to any of your moves. You can sprinkle a little fire at any of these moves. For example, with our hip bumps, we have, the basic side to side hip bump. But when we increase the time and the tempo, it is a little more difficult. Fires the muscles a little bit more, your breath quickens. Keep breathing though. Now do a little faster. Now go as fast as you can. You're bending your knees, and this right here is your shimmy. Alrighty, so let's add the shimmy in there, shall we? Open, closed, open, closed. Hip down, hip down, hip down, hip down. Travel. Let's do like our arms down instead of up. And shimmy. Open, closed, open, closed. Hip, 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 hip. Cross, point, cross, point, cross, point, cross back, point, and jump. Very good. Let's do it to some music. Ready? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Point. Point. Back. Point. Oh, I forgot what we were doing next. Shimmy. Shimmy. Okay, back to cauldron move. Open, close. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Point. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And circle, circle, 2. 1, 2. 3, 4. 3, 4. Point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Shimmy. And circle. Opposite direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Step, 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 step. 5, 6, 7, 8. Shimmy. Circle. 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 Step out, step out. Oh, there. 1, 2. Out, step out. Out, step out, step out, step out. Ready for the shimmy? Da, 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 da. Circle, circle, open. Circle, circle. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 7. Shimmy. And pose. Let's do a cool down. Very good. Notice your heart rate. Let's step out. Go side to side. Feeling the stretch in our side body. Bend from the hips for a forward fold. Halfway lift. Bend your knees, roll the hips up. Let's have a seat on the floor. I like to get my legs stretched out by straightening them ahead of me and then flexing and pointing. Sometimes I'll alternate. Lift up with the arms and forward fold, only as far as your back remains straight. It may not look like a dramatic over the legs fold, but it helps save the sciatic nerve when you don't bend your whole back like that. Bring the legs, feet in together. Do some butterfly bounces. Hold it still or rock side to side, stretching and relaxing the hips, the inner thigh. Let's take a moment to check in with ourselves again. We're going to do one more body scan before we go for our sound bath. Close your eyes if it's available to you. Start at the crown of your head. Notice how it feels. No judgment, no stories. Down to your face and your mouth, your jaws, your ears, the neck and the shoulders, spilling the awareness down into the arms, elbows, wrists, and fingertips. Continue to breathe. As you bring your awareness back up into your chest, and notice your heart beat, your heart rate. Bring the awareness down into the trunk of the body, your belly, your spine, where it connects to your hips and your sits bones. Again, feel the support of Mother Earth. Bring your awareness into your thighs and your knees, your legs and your ankles and the tips of your toes. Notice any other places in your body where you find sensation. How do you feel? How is it different from before? Bring your awareness back to your heart center. Bring your palms together in front of heart center. And feel gratitude for taking time to express yourself and tap in. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes and namaste.